Okay, we are good to go. We are live. We are going to discussion. A, President's Coin. Some of you may be familiar with the challenge coin in the military. It is a coin that is given from a high-ranking individual, usually a commander, to someone in the warfighter. Here at BCPS, we are adopting a similar coin, a new tradition called the President's Coin. This coin represents a person's affiliation to Battle Creek Public Schools, as well as their achievements, dedication, and service within the district. This coin is given to an individual only from the President of the Board of Education, and each month the President will have the opportunity to give a President's Coin to someone. It can be anyone in the district, to include administrative staff, teachers, parapros, lunch workers, bus drivers, secretaries, or anyone. Oh, I gotta find that. This month's President's Coin is going to someone who I've only had the privilege of working with less than a year. This person hit the ground running with doing so much for our district. This person gets the job done. When you look at our volunteer sign-up sheet for our district over the summer events, his name is on every single event. He works the tables and booths, he hauls around all the merchandise at every event, and even runs to get more when we run out. He fits the definition of team player perfectly, not to mention professionalism. I'm always addressed as President Fulbright. I can't wait to see what great things he will bring to our district. I hope he doesn't wear himself out. Someone will have to step in and cover to take the photo for this next part. It is my honor to present the President's Coin for the month of July to Mr. Jose Solorio Esconde. You did it.
Thank you so much.
It was the face he made when he was like,
How do I take a picture? Okay, just press camera and go. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
that was fast.
I was like, that sounds a lot like you.
Okay, moving on to B, Communications and Marketing Plan. Jose.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So today I just want to go really quickly over what my strategy is, or the strategy of the communications department is for this next year. My focus is narrative. So there's a phrase that someone said that is, if you don't tell your story, someone else will. And I think oftentimes that's one of the shortcomings I've had this year, is I haven't been able to fully tell the story of the district, and that affects our narrative. And so this year it's about how do I take control back, and how do I empower our schools to take control back of the narrative. So the first bit is, I'll say, kind of what has worked in the past, and it's been like marketing and ads reporting has always worked, right? Like we get really impressive numbers, right? So 361,000 impressions, that's 361 people that have seen our ads across media. So our reach is good, our ads are good, but that is not being translated into narrative, change, and enrollment. And so although these numbers are great and I could sit here and be happy about that, to me that's not enough, and that's why my work is really anchored in just trying to change the narrative of our schools and the vision that the community has of our district. So again, it's the purpose of this presentation or this plan is to regain control of our district, highlight district's narrative through authentic, transparent storytelling that highlights real growth of students, staff, and community. And I also want to make sure that I'm transparent about the challenges that we do have, share those with the community, and leverage those into opportunities of how are we evolving and how are we transforming the district, right? We're not perfect. So the challenges that I'm responding to, again, is the narrative. And mainly there's been communication systems that are inconsistent or are underbuilt, right? And specifically, when we talk about how can teachers share what they're doing every day, how can we celebrate those little achievements every day of those students and help them feel seen, and then our students as well. So the role for district communications, so my role is to support. So I don't want to replace building autonomy in terms of communications, but I want to amplify it, I want to support it. I want to, again, celebrate student and staff growth, and most importantly this year is to create tools and systems that work, are repeatable, and that are consistent. So my role, building an environment for success in communications. So this year, I'm creating what I call a community engagement score. So that's how I'm gonna base whether this plan is successful or not. So I'm grabbing a combination of 4 things. So staff engagement, community engagement, narrative shift, and staff reach. So what does this mean? So for staff engagement, we're doing the percentage of staff submitting, and will be optional, the submissions. I'm not gonna get mad if people don't submit, but it's a matter of, okay, I'm gonna put it out there. If it works, great. If not, how can I incentivize teachers or staff to submit those stories? So the percentage of stories being submitted weekly. Community engagement, that's the same thing we've been doing, so tracking shares, likes, comments on our social media platforms. And then narrative shift is a little bit different, right? So going into some of the negative Facebook groups that are in our community and acknowledging those stories as well, making sure that feedback is being heard, but also looking at the positive. And with that, also making sure that we're submitting stories to the media consistently, positive, all the time. This is what's happening this week. This is what's happening next week. If they don't run it, they don't run it, but at least we're submitting those. And lastly, the percentage of staff engaging with our communications tool. So making sure that that newsletter that we send out from the district is good enough, it's interesting, and teachers actually want to read it. Yep, I know it's long. I know it's long, so I'm working on it. So again, so percentage of schools submitting at least 1 story per week. So that will give me a number. I'll add it. Community engagement and the narrative shift. I'll have to do that a little bit manually, so that will take me a little bit of time. But it's about creating the workflow in my day-to-day to make sure that I'm tracking those things. So systems powering our communication strategy, that's what's new and that's what I'm trying to create. So I'm creating a story submission system so that teachers, staff, secretaries can easily submit a story. And it doesn't have to be anything super long. It could be a picture of a student doing math and just submit that story with a phrase. And to me, in the era that we live of short form content, that's a really quick hit of, okay, something good is happening in our schools. So making sure that that system works and it's easy to use for staff. So then a content calendar and workflow, making sure that everything that I upload on socials is consistently at the same day, same time, so people know when to expect content from us, creating a little bit of consistency for people there. Another thing that we're developing and we're hoping to release for opening week is an internal messaging toolkit that will include best practices as well as templates, and this is for district leadership to just have our branding and making sure that our communication is unified and it's the same across the district. They can get creative, let's just follow the branding rules. And then lastly, I already talked about it, but the engagement score dashboard. So just an example of the campaigns that I want to run through these systems. I already kind of spoke about it, but it's the weekly story spark is what I'm going to call those quick stories, quick pictures. It's meant to be quick, simple, celebratory, that's it. And again, it's not, I want to make sure that teachers don't feel like I'm giving them an extra thing to do. It's fully optional. I really believe if this works the way it should, we will see really positive feedback and really positive change in narrative in our community. The next one is Growth Spotlight. That makes me have to be more present at schools, creating more direct relationship with teachers and seeing how they're growing through relationships and seeing all the great work they're doing and highlighting from a district lens. And then lastly, Did You Know BCPS is the name of the campaign. So there's many things that happen in BCPS, and I very often hear, oh, I didn't know about that. Even Bearcat Advantage, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, Northwestern's opening, I didn't know about that. And so Did You Know BCPS will be a weekly story that will say, did you know BCPS has career academies, and explain what career academies is. Then we'll run that throughout the year, 1 time a week. So what do our first 90 days of execution look like? So in August, to me, is setting the tone and launching the story submission systems, making sure those systems are working and they're effective, distributing that communications toolkit to principals, and then the Welcome to BCPS feature series, which will be like, what does the first week look in our schools? In September is making sure that we're launching those stories out to the community, so Story Spark and Growth Spotlight, and then beginning the Did You Know BCPS campaign, as well as begin tracking school participation and providing the support that is needed. In October, I'll share some early engagement data and collect feedback from staff. So this will let me know, is this just adding too much of a workload to teachers? Is it working? Do they like it? Do they not? And then adjust systems and begin planning media outreach. So for me, this supports enrollment and public confidence because once the narrative changes, I think our community will be more likely to invest and be advocates of our brand, of our school district. I think it will boost staff morale because, in my opinion, when you're seeing you're celebrated, you do your best work. And then perception shift. You change the perception of how people see our district, and great things will continue to happen. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys. I just wanted to share with you kind of what my plan is and my goals are for this year. If you guys have any feedback, it's okay. If you don't like it, if you like it, just let me know and I can adjust. So that's it. Thank you
I have a
guys.
question for you.
Yes, of course.
So I'm thinking about it of how I would engage with this. One as a parent, one as a board member. So as a parent, this was very like staff focused, which I get that. You're speaking on behalf of the district. But how would you expect parents to engage with this content, share it, amplify it? Maybe I want to highlight a teacher. Like, is that going to be in your plans in the future?
So that's actually a really interesting point, and I hadn't really thought about it that way. If I'm understanding what you're saying is, say a parent is having a really positive experience with a teacher, can we highlight it? So thank you for that. I had not thought about that, and that's a great idea. I will make sure to add that, because that makes it a lot simpler, and it can be like the baseline of every post that I make about a teacher, about a school. Hey, if you're a parent and you have a positive school experience, please share it with us. So thank you. I will definitely add that.
Yeah, and then just even using your parents as, because people trust people that they know. When you're listening to like an organization, I think about it from like when I'm in my work. When we speak as a company, people have a certain level of skepticism to that. But when you start having like your parents be the ones who are advocating for that, and maybe that will grow organically from here, or maybe you just have to.
I really
put a
like
little
that.
structure around
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I like. Thank you. I'm upset that I didn't think about it, but thank you. That's great. That's a great idea. I will definitely be adding that and creating that system as well for parents. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Yes.
Just a comment. I really appreciate the approach.
Thank you.
I wrote aggressive media campaign to address the media. As you know, you've heard you get a bad rap. And I watched a lot this summer. I watched some other districts, the media cover other districts and ask for this, ask for that. So I'm looking forward to you being aggressive
Absolutely.
toward the media. And then the stories. I think we talked about this before, telling our story. One thing that I would like to see, I'm sure others that would inspire our district, is some of our students, our college students coming back. It would be great to see that in stories.
Absolutely. So I actually didn't put it in the plan, but we are doing an alumni spotlight series. So I have a list of alumni, but also I remember our conversation with GVSU grads. So right now we're starting with like famous kind of, or more, out there persons. However, I think it will be really nice to do spotlights on people that are still in college. How are you doing? Right? So I appreciate that, and it is coming for sure. Yes.
Just a couple of thoughts,
Yes.
questions about the storytelling campaign. So this is actually what I do in my day job, the organization that I run, as a central part of what we do. What kind of like resources or supports are going to be out there for the staff to ensure that like the stories that you collect are as impactful and meaningful as possible while staying, authentic and ethical?
Right. So to me, and the way I approach it is making sure they'll submit a story, and if it's really not publishable, I will just give some constructive feedback, send it back to them, and say, hey, I really like the story. Can we change a couple of points? It's your story, and honestly, I really fully trust in our teachers that they will submit good stories. That's the other reason why Story Spark works well for me, because it's just 2 pictures and tell me what happened that day, right? And so that's something really, really quick that to me doesn't have like a huge impact, just one. But if we do it a collective every single week, that's when you put all those together and have some impact. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Any other questions or comments?
So I'm wondering about, so what is our presence on some of the, I would say I'm gonna call it non-traditional socials like TikTok.
So, yeah, and Instagram as well. So for Instagram, I am looking at a strategy on how to implement it. I don't call it an issue, but the block that I'm having with Instagram is that I want to make sure that if we do launch an Instagram, it serves a different purpose than Facebook, right? And so making sure that those strategies are aligned. So short form content, video content, and then photography as well. And just making sure that's a highly visual page. And then for TikTok, I need to look at some policy, because it's my understanding that there was some sort of policy in the district that didn't allow us to do TikTok, because we have looked at in the past. I will double check that and get back to you, because yes, TikTok would be a huge, huge asset for us. Yeah. Is it good?
So another question.
Yes,
How,
ma'am.
how does this interact with, like a lot of the schools have their own Facebook page?
Yeah.
So how does this plan line up with what the schools are doing with their friends pages?
Yeah, so my goal is that if I publish a story from Northwestern, is to have, hey, share that on your page as well. But my goal is for schools to have full control of their Facebook, and as long as that's what the toolkit is for. As long as they stay within brand guidelines, just post what you want. Post, post your everyday. Like that's the goal. Eventually, and I want to say this openly. I'm looking at a platform for messaging systems that will allow schools to do that without needing Facebook, and will also engage in two-way conversation with parents. But anyways, yeah, my goal is that's why the toolkit's there for. Make sure that you have full control of your Facebook in each school. You can do whatever you want as long as you stay within brand guidelines. And I'll give suggestions as the stories go out. Hey, Northwestern, you just submitted a story, or someone submitted a story. This would be great on your Facebook. But I really want schools to start just showcasing their own work as well.
Yeah, I like that secondary piece, because I don't check Facebook, so that is good.
Yeah, so this new, I can give a little bit of an advance. It's called Parent Square, the platform I'm looking at. Essentially, it's like School Messenger on crack. So it does.
What? No.
Vitamins.
On caffeine, sorry. But yeah, it's a great platform. I will give you guys more updates as I consolidating plans. Obviously, if we move to that, I will have to come to you guys for approval. So I'll let you know. I'm looking to pilot Parent Square in 2 of our schools starting in January. So I'll let you guys know more about that.
Fremont would be the one to start with.
Correct. So my goal would be Fremont and STEM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good for my school.
Right.
Yep.
And then you also want to provide an update on, because as part of communications, we've had a lot of complaints around the staff directory, so.
Oh, yeah, so I'll give you guys another update, and this is actually an update for you too, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. So, since I'm already here, listen. So, our backend developers we were working with, it was a company called Raygun. They no longer have the capacity to support us, so last week I've met with another company called Sunnybyte. I believe we are going to move through with them, and they will take our backend. In that process of that conversation, I spoke to them automating the staff directory. So now each school will have a full staff directory that people can access, and it will be automated, so I don't have to do it one teacher by one teacher, because that was going to take me a month, which is why it didn't get done. So thank you guys. That's the update.
So it's coming.
It's coming.
and
It's coming like in the next
it is
month.
on our
In the
radar.
next month, you should see that. Yeah. Any other questions about this or anything else?
So much.
Thank you guys.
Moving on to D, federal funding hold. Dr. Carter.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be appropriate for us to have a discussion as a board, because lots of our stakeholders have been confused about what's been happening in the media, and so this is an opportunity for us to have a public discussion around federal education funding, the freeze, the release, the freeze, the release. It's kind of been like that back and forth. So with that being said, the context and background, I know how to work this.
Turn it
I
on
always
first.
say turn it on. You know.
You did it last time.
Context and background. So in January of 2025, the current administration paused federal education grants. Now, what's important to understand about those grants are that those were grants that targeted things like DEI, specifically English learners, after-school programs. All of those enrichment opportunities for underserved communities were at risk of losing some of the funding. And so court orders January through March blocked that freeze, but it was kind of going back and forth. You received lots of emails from me. We have money, we don't have money, those kinds of things. And so it was kind of a whiplash moment across our executive cabinet, just trying to make sure that we had the funds to do the programming that you approved, right? So with that being said, it was about $6 billion in total federal funds were what is now just delayed. Those funds were expected to be released on July 1. And after a lot of back and forth, we had a freeze. There partial funds were released, and then later on, we just received notification that the rest of the funds will be released. They have not been released. We just have notification that they will be released. And so we're going to move in confidence by continuing those programs, recognizing that it's delayed and not disrupted at this point. So some of the potential risk that was part of the pause were support for EL services. Those are our, or what we call multilingual learners. Teacher professional development, and some of our enrichment programs. We do programs like Read 180 and Math 180 in the secondary schools to provide additional supports. That was at risk. Our instructional coaches are covered by this money. The most significant for us was after school and out of school time programming. And some of that program is still at risk, so I really want to be clear about that. So what we heard this month is that another 5.5, or the remaining 5.5 to 6.8 will be released by the administration. This includes $1.3 billion for 21st Century Learning Centers. And these releases follow lawsuits and bipartisan congressional pressure. So I think what I want to go on public record is say thank you to the community that heard the call, and for those of you that reached out to their legislators directly and talked about how this directly impacts the schools. So thank you to our union partners and all of the community members that said, wait a minute, this really impacts kids, and I do believe that that had impact. So the implications for BCPS is that we do have some relief for after-school PD and EL programs. Staffing and contract delays have already impacted our planning because we were going back and forth. And there are some it highlights the risk of a reliance on federal timelines. And so one of the things that I also wanted to discuss publicly is that as a result of this fragile funding, we can't depend on any of it at this point. I think we all understand that. And so what you also heard from me this week is that as of right now, we do not have a contract to continue communities and schools. I can't sign a 3-year contract. I know that this board would not sign a 3-year contract with anyone at this point. And so in the absence of most of the contracts that we bring forward are annual contracts because we know we can't rely on federal funds. I also anticipate that while we have this release, that they've released what was already approved, but I don't anticipate any further approvals. So what we have this year will not be the same next year. And so we have to be ready to make adjustments with respect to that. So I want to open it up for questions, discussion.
You said for the after school, some of it is affected. What does that mean?
Thank you. So we have 2 pots of after-school money. So one is federal, one is state. They're both tied together. 21st Century is a grant that has been released. We also received, if you remember last year, to put it all in perspective, we came and said that there were some schools not funded, but we're going to partner with Pastor French to get funding for those other schools. That is what's called the OST grant. That grant only goes through October of 2025, and then we lose that funding for those schools. So what I have asked our administrative team to do is put together an overview of our out-of-school time funding pots, what's covered where, and we'd like to have a discussion around that at our work session in August, because we're really going to have to make some hard decisions, some of which being, if you can't offer it at all schools, do you offer it at no schools? If you can't offer it, do you start a pay for participation? I struggle with that because why does one school get it for free and another school? But those are the kinds of conversations that I think we should have publicly to understand. And so Dr. Harvey is gathering all of that along with Director Mitch, I forgot his last name. It's been a day. So I have vacation brain and I'm trying to come back, y'all. Work with me here. So they are working to put together all of that information, and I've asked them to have that as part of our regular work session in August.
Your Bearcat coaches, are they paid out of Title I funds or are they paid out of this after-school fund?
Bearcat coaches were paid out of the ESSER funds that are no longer existing.
Okay.
So we made a adjustment to some of our WKKF funding to at least make sure we have them at the high school. Yeah, because we believe that high school has to have some sort of supports in there, and so we moved that money. I think also publicly for the community to understand is that our first grant from WKKF was $51 million. Our second grant was 15. So you think about how much the resources we had expected to kind of decrease the need, but the needs are still at a level, so we're just having to prioritize. So that's what you also see happening in terms of our funding challenges.
With the pay for the after and before care, have we looked at other districts? I've heard people in other districts say that they do pay for that, like I have a friend that goes, has kids in Harper Creek. So do we know what that looks like comparatively?
So that's the information that they're gathering right now so that we can come back and have a robust conversation about it. What do our area districts, what are they doing? I think for us, what's gonna be the challenge is where in our neighboring district, everybody pays, right? And so we just have to kind of work our way through that. But we're gonna bring forward some information, some recommendations, but I wanna make sure that we're all on the same page.
I think this is a time where, at least I'll speak for me as a parent, having ability to pay, realizing how important it's going to be to support community in other ways. So even if there was to explore an option for a sponsor of the kids or whatever, you know what I mean, to pull together and support it that way, or our cost substitutes cost for others who can't.
Love that idea, which is why I think the collective conversation will be important, so that we can brainstorm.
Yes.
It's not an all or nothing, but let's figure out what's possible. All right, so what we still don't know is when we will get the money, so that's still pending. We are in a good position with that. This is why healthy fund balances are important. This is the example of the why we make sure we maintain a healthy fund balance, because we have the cash flow to cover what's still pending right now. We're not in danger of that. Potential new restrictions or conditions are not fully known, and monitoring required for any future funding priorities are still under. And I think the other point to be made is we still do not have a state budget. We still do not have a state budget or an amount per pupil. So the budget we passed was a guess. And so you will see our finance department come back with a modification earlier than usual. Normally we do a revision like January. We will probably need to do one like October, November, because everything that you passed was based on our close estimate of what we were hoping will happen, and there's been a lot of back and forth. So our next step is to continue coordination with the Michigan Department of Education. We are developing contingency plans for critical services. We're monitoring the conditions for future federal grants and maintaining transparency like this, having open conversations so that people can make sure that their questions are asked and you have the information you need. that's where we are.
Any other questions or comments for Dr. Carter? Okay, thank you. Moving on to E, board vacancy. So the board knows, and now the public knows, because we just had the administrative announcement. Trustee Nordman is starting her assistant principal position July 30th. Tonight is her last board meeting. Tomorrow she is officially resigned. So the board needs to, we have 30 days to fill her position, appoint a new person. So I sent you in an email the step-by-step guidelines on what we have in our bylaws. I'm also going to be looking at Trustee McClenny a lot because he's done this in the past. So I know we have to acknowledge the vacancy. We have 30 days to appoint a new person. And then option 3, or part 3 is the public process. There's a few options. For me, and this is just my opinion, it says publicize the vacancy, website, social media, flyers, or school buildings. In my opinion, because school hasn't started yet, I think website and social media is just fine. I don't think we need flyers in the school buildings because school hasn't started yet. What are your thoughts on that? I'll stop right there and give you guys takes.
So I read school buildings to me like our signage on the digital signs.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say we should do that.
Absolutely.
Because people just drive by and see that.
Yep.
But yeah, in the physical.
Digital signs? Like the marquees outside?
The marquee.
Yeah. As far as the next bullet, accept resumes, applications, or letters of interest. In my opinion, I think we just need letters of interest. I don't really need a resume and application, but what are your guys' thoughts on that?
So the last time we did this, we took on letters. And then we went through them. Each board member got them, if I remember correctly. We went through them and then we had to go to the next step, which is the public knowledge.
Yeah, so I think it wouldn't hurt to have, well, definitely letters of interest, but if they want to send resumes optional,
It could be
absolutely.
optional, but yeah.
Except letters, we can post letters of interest, resumes optional, but so that if they do, that would be a highlight to help make the decision.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And then interview candidates in an open session of a public board meeting. So my question to you all is, do we want to have a special meeting or do we want it at the work session in August or the regular meeting in August? Both dates are before the 30-day deadline. I don't know what is easier or better. I don't remember if you guys did a special thing when I was appointed or your regular
We
meetings.
ended up with a special meeting across the street.
Right.
And so I think that's the easiest way to do it, is a special meeting, and then we had to have majority, because it was 3-3, so.
Right. Yeah. I did speak to the parliamentarian at MASB. You probably have had her class for 101, Deb Macon, and I wanted to get all my ducks in a row, and she did say it does not have to be unanimous. It does have to be majority, and roll call is optional. So we can just decide that however we want to do that. So how about, do we want to look at dates right now and see?
What is on our agenda for a regular or working session? Because throwing in another meeting sometimes is a bit.
I wanted to make a recommendation that all of the applications are due the Friday before your work session, and then the actual interviews are at the regular meeting in August.
Perfect. So the 25th.
I don't want to have.
I just have no desire to sit here and be frank, and if we got a big agenda and sit here and go through that, because we're not, you only pay attention to so long. So we need to take that into consideration.
Well, and if the deadline is by our work session,
Yes, it is.
we should know if we have one person or 10 people or, so,
Depending on the count.
yeah. So do we all agree August 25th? And actually, yes, August 25th. Is that good for you?
I won't be here for the work session, but I'll be here for the regular meeting.
Perfect.
Which makes it work because
Yep.
those will be electronic, we'll send it
Is
to you.
that good for you?
Yes, question though. So do we accept anybody who submits a letter of interest?
I
So
don't
there's
think we
no-
can deny anybody, because it's an open interview, so. But they have to make the deadline.
But don't they have to live in Battle Creek?
Oh, yes, they have to
Okay.
live in the district.
So who does that screening, like, and make sure that they meet the bare minimum
So
requirement?
that was my,
I said you.
We ain't got no HR for that,
The board secretary will help run she'll work to run the addresses. But if they live in the catchment area of Battle Creek Public Schools, they are eligible to submit a letter of intent.
And my other question, because we all went through a public process, right? The community voted on us, so are we required, is it recommended, and how do we get community feedback? Or no, this is purely the board's?
This is purely the board
They would
at
have
this
to run,
point.
they would have to run.
Right.
Right.
So which is why,
Gotcha.
I think to your point, the way we've tried to do this in the past to create public transparency is if they're due by like 3 o'clock of the work session, you can then read the names at the work session of who has inquired. So that way, as board members, you can get information if you want to between
Okay.
that and the actual interview. The other point that I wanna, if you're okay.
Absolutely,
saying,
yep.
is that when you do that on the general, it is a 1 minute, one question, why do you want to be part of the board? Because everything else should be in that letter of, right, letter of interest. And to your point, you don't want to do a whole interview session. This is not hiring anybody. Does that make sense?
I think the question was, I know some brought up resumes, and if I remember correctly, I don't know if we did resumes, because the question that came up last time, if we do resumes, who's going to check it? Anybody could write a resume and put anything they want, who checks it. I think that's what the point was last time we did that. So we had that one question, and then we had people give their answers.
Well, there was also some pushback around, what if I'm just a house?
Right.
Not just, I apologize, but you say if I'm not presently employed,
Right.
is that gonna tell me I can't be on the board, those kinds of things. But I do believe
Yeah.
optional, it gives us some more insight, so.
Yeah, and a resume implies that you're just thinking we're putting down work history. Resume could be, it should be broader than that. That includes your volunteerism and all the other things. So, I mean, we ain't checking the letter of intent necessarily. You can rely on that as well if we're worried about integrity. So,
Yeah.
I just think it helps to give a more fulsome thought process for the people applying about like truly what are your intentions. But if it's optional, then they can opt not to.
I mean, if we make it optional, I didn't hear the word optional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said optional.
I'm all right with that. It's just that I don't want anybody, just because you have a master's or bachelor's and then somebody just regular on the streets, can't apply. I don't want that to happen.
Right.
I think there's just a bias assumed in a resume that I don't have in my mind when I say about a resume. Give us a more understanding of what experience you're bringing, or what experiences you've had.
So can I clarify for the notes for Ms. Smith over there, that letters of interest should include why you want to be a part of the board and what you, I don't want to say bring, but can you give me some wordsmithing so that we can put together your, okay.
Yeah.
And why you want to serve, okay? And that's enough for you all in the letter of interest. Okay.
What did we put that in here with?
So why you want to serve and the unique perspective you bring.
And Resume optional.
with resume optional. Got it.
And this will go on our website, Facebook, and the marquees. Correct?
Yep, and
Just
open until
recapping. Open until
8th,
You said the Friday before?
Monday at 3 p.m.
Oh, that will be the 11th.
yes, the
Monday, 8/11 at 3 p.m.
11th. And then at that meeting, I can read the names so everyone.
Might be also helpful in the letter to like, just have a general idea of like what has been their community involvement. Whether it's related to the school or I like to know if they have any particular.
I think that was in the letter. I know we had one. I can't find it now, but yeah, I think those kind of questions were in that letter when we did it with Charlie.
And so that brings me to my next question, because if I remember correctly, of course this was a while ago, I thought when I came up here, each board member asked me a question, because Kyra asked me a question about OEC and I didn't know that was Clear Lake Camp. So each, and I don't think we want to do that this time, right? Because
So that's what we're at.
Yes,
I thought,
okay, what do you-
so you can do it that way where everybody asks a question, or you can just say, everybody answer this one question. That's up to you, so.
Do we have to decide this right now? Can we think about it?
Let's think about it and we can then
At the work
finish that
session.
at the work session.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, we did do that, and I thought it was kind of unfair because, like you said, some people asked some questions what the OEC was. People had this like, what is that? Because, and then another board member would ask this question. So a single question.
We can do it that way. So we'll make that decision at the work session.
Perfect. And then as far as the step-by-step guidelines to fill the vacancy, everything after what we just talked about is all Kavita. So, saw you go.
Let's say go.
Does anyone have any questions before we move topics?
Question about the term ending. If I'm understanding it correctly, it would be they would have to rerun in 2026.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So there'll be 3 people then running, because I think me, Nathan, and this new spot will be up for election in 2026. So, yep. Any other questions?
If we do this, when we do this process, if we could just have this saved somewhere, just in case.
Never again. It will never, ever happen again.
I'm sorry, I do have one more question. When are we going to host this? So, well, we have to acknowledge it tomorrow, because tomorrow is her official resignation day. So tomorrow will something,
By end of day tomorrow, we will
Absolutely.
have a social media post ready to go.
perfect.
And we can steal from our neighbors who just did this. Borrow, thank you. We'll borrow and learn.
We're collaborating with each
from
other.
our
Teamwork.
neighborhoods. Yes, thank you. We will learn from our neighbors.
Okay. Anything else? Moving on to new business. A, maintenance collective bargaining agreement, tentative agreement. Dr. Henry.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
This summer has been very busy relative to negotiating contracts with several collective bargaining unit groups. First on the agenda is the maintenance group. As presented in your board packet, the negotiation team reached a tentative agreement and ratified a contract with the Battle Creek Educational Support Personnel Association, also known as BCPS. Our negotiations focus on changing and clarifying contract language, compensation, and updating language relative to insurance. The team was able to come to an agreement within the board's parameters. Do you have any questions regarding the maintenance group? I'd like to move on to BCA.
Gotta take a vote on each one.
I will entertain a motion for the maintenance collective bargaining agreement.
President Fulbright,
Yes, Trustee Johnson?
I move to approve the maintenance collective bargaining agreement.
Support.
Moved by trustee Johnson, supported by trustee Perry. Any discussion? Should we do a roll call vote? Or no? Okay, all in favor say yes?
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. B.
Moving on to BCA. As presented in your board packet, the district's negotiation team reached a tentative agreement with a subsequent ratified collective bargaining agreement with the Battle Creek Education Association. Specifically, this contract focused on modifying and clarifying contract language, compensation, and updated language relative to insurance. Indeed, this was a very collaborative process with BCA, and the board's team was able to come to an agreement within the board's parameters, and the union successfully reached ratification. At this time, are there any questions?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Yes, trustee Perry?
Move that we accept the teacher collective bargaining agreement as presented.
It's been moved by trustee Perry, supported by trustee Hoagland Jackson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Motion passes. C, secretary collective bargaining agreements.
We've been very busy. As presented in your board packet, the district negotiation team also reached a tentative agreement with a subsequent ratified contract with the Battle Creek Educational Secretaries Collective Bargaining Unit. Updating health insurance information, updating the sick bag language, and compensation was the focus of these negotiations. Also, this was a very collaborative process, and the board's team was able to come to an agreement within the board's parameters, and the union was able to reach ratification. Are there any questions before moving on?
I just had I'm excited that you guys added, which includes maternity leave. I think that's a lot of companies don't do that, so I'm glad we added that in, but that's all I had. Any other comments?
I have a question on that. Is that meant to be like parental and all inclusive? Because maternity usually means a mother.
I think under legislation now, that would include.
Parental, just
Yes,
parental leave for
yes.
give a male.
Good catch. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Right, I move that we ratify or approve the Secretary's collective bargaining agreement as presented by Dr. Henry.
Support.
It's been moved by trustee Nordman, supported by trustee Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor say yes? Yes. All opposed say no. Motion passes. D, parapro collective bargaining agreements.
And last but not least, as presented in your board packet, the district's negotiation team reached a tentative agreement with the subsequent ratified contract with the Battle Creek Paraprofessionals Association. Updating health insurance information, we are pleased to include evaluations with our paraprofessionals and compensation with the focus of these negotiations. Once again, this was a very collaborative process, and the board's team was able to meet agreement with the board's parameters, and this summer, the union was able to reach ratification.
I'll entertain a motion. Yes, trustee.
We approve the paragraph.
It's been moved by trustee Hoagland Jackson, supported by trustee Perry. Any discussion? All in favor say yes? Yes. All opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to your team and thank you for all the hard work.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Thank you. Superintendent comments.
I will keep it simple. We look forward to welcoming students back for the new school year on Wednesday, August 20th. Incoming high school freshmen are invited to an orientation event on Monday, August 18th. Parents can expect more information about orientation coming soon this week. And we welcome our new building leaders to the team. We look forward to the great work they will accomplish in their buildings. great things are happening in Battle Creek Public Schools.
Thank you so much. Board member comments. Go ahead, Trustee McFinney.
Real quick, it's been a pleasure serving with you on board for a short time. I enjoy the time that we've been at the conference. So, and look forward to you in your new position. And all the administrators that are still here.
I would also just like to say congratulations. It's been a pleasure getting elected with you, so now you leave me as the sole newbie. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations.
You'll be a senior. You'll be a senior soon.
Yes, yeah. I'm not gonna
Or you could just be like me and always say you're new. I use that one all the time. But I do want to say congratulations to that was just so exciting just to see the announcements, and I am really looking forward to the leadership, and I'm going to miss you on the board, but I am also so excited because I do think your skill sets are better utilized in the district, serving and supporting our students. So I'm excited for you. Thank you for the opportunity to work together.
I will echo the comments. It was a brief tenure, but it was impactful, so happy for you with your new role. I'm excited for all of the new ones. Ms. Oliver, who I'll be seeing. My one student I have left at Fremont, so congrats to you, and excited for the energy that's coming with everybody in their new position. So, great things are happening at Battle Creek Public Schools.
You're my line.
I have to say it. I'm excited for it.
Borrow.
Yes, I will borrow today.
Yeah, I'll say again also, congrats to everyone joining on and new roles. I'm also very excited about Miss Oliver, teaching my kids for years. And Trustee Norman, as everyone said, it's been a pleasure. But congratulations, very excited for you this role for sure. And just to the community, you know, if you are interested at all, and you're a registered voter who lives in the district, we'd love to have you apply. Very excited about onboarding someone new. And great things are happening.
So, do you want to close it out? Because I'll save my stuff before if you want. Okay, yeah, we'll let you close us out. So I just want to remind the board that August 15th and 16th is the Spring Institute at MESB. If you haven't checked out the classes, please register as soon as possible. And then ALC, the Annual Leadership Conference in Traverse City, has opened up, so look at that and get stuff to Kawita. I also want to say congratulations. I feel like I'm repetitive, but very well deserved. I'm really excited that you got to have this opportunity, and I can't wait to work on the other side with you. And great things are happening in Battle Creek Public Schools, but I will let you close us out. Go ahead, Trustee Norman.
Before she closes us out, because I really want you to be the last word, I want our board trustees to know that opening day for staff is August 12th. So a lot of times there are board trustees that are there. We start at 8:30, and this year our opening day speaker is Mrs. Michigan, otherwise known as Tamara Babcock, as well as a fireside chat with students. So if you're able to attend, August 12th is opening day.
So I just want to say thank you, Fulbright, for your leadership and vision. Thank you, of course, Dr. Carter, for, of course, your vision for the last 10 years. You know, the reason why we go so hard is because we believe in you. And so I've been appreciative of the opportunity to serve. Dr. Perry, thank you for your mentorship and taking me under your wing and helping me become more comfortable. Trustee Grayjack, thank you for being such a smiling face every time we come into the meeting, so I really appreciate your warm energy. And then, of course, Trustee Johnson, you know, we'll be in contact. You know, we will continue to work together and collaborate. So thank you for that. Trustee McKinney, thank you for all the years of service you've dedicated to our district. You know, we'll be without somebody who has this institutional knowledge, so thank you for that. And then Trustee Jackson, this is not the end of my political career, I said that, so I look forward to working with you in the future as we continue to resist the changes that are coming And then, of course, thank you, Kawita. I'm always bugging you for something and you never give me a hard time, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then, of course, the Bearcat family, thank you for allowing me to continue to serve. And I promise to be an open door. If people need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So thank you.
Great things are happening in Battle Creek Public Schools. Meeting adjourned.
It's going to be a great year.